These dupes, they are going to be the death of me. She's just ignoring her. It's like, bro, it's not my problem. Hello there, I'm the base manager and welcome back to Oxygen Not Included. Now, today I would like to get some oxygen production going in the ice biome over here so that we can have chilly, cold oxygen. Also, I would like to get a few things done, like for example, I would like to start farming this thimbleweed over here. We can create an access over there that doesn't touch any germs, so our dupes will be safe. And we'll need those fibers eventually for the suits. But first, before we can have suits, we need a way to create oxygen for them, and that's the task for today. So, last episode I prevented my dupe from burying herself in all of this sand. Hopefully she will use this ladder to mine that tile over there. And yeah. So I analyzed the map a little bit, and I already know where the limits of our base are going to be. We are going to cut it over here. This is the place we are going to cut our base, and because well, this is the map limit already. So yeah, that is going to give us plenty of room. So don't worry too much about it. Also, this time we are going to have a double airlock instead of just one airlock pointing to one side. Which I initially wanted to build over here, but now I see that we have the teleporter in the way. That is going to be kind of an issue, so I might just push it to the next level instead. I just wanted to avoid the freaking chlorine that we have over here, but apparently that's unavoidable. That's fine, we can get rid of it if... There is no one buried in here, right? Let's mine this like quickly, just in case. And yeah, two airlocks that is going to allow us to have more suits, and it's going to save time on the dupe travel. That way they can just go in the exit, pointing towards the place they want to go. But in any case, we have things to do, like getting the thimbleweed. And go towards the ice biome over there. Hello? What is this? A pedestal with a O.N.I jar on top of it. Pretty cool. So I believe we have found one artifact, and apparently we found another geyser over here. We have one over here, one over here, one over here, and one over here. This is a geyser heavy zone apparently. We won't have a lot of room to work with, but we don't need a lot of room. The early game oxygen production thingy that I usually use is very tiny and simple, so yeah, it's not going to be an issue. We can pretty much just slam... Wow, this is the top... This is the edge of the map, on the top. Over here, it's the vacuum of space already. Wow. Oh, yeah, I forgot how tiny the spaced out map is, but this one feels even smaller than the other one. Okay, so now that we have kind of an idea of what we are working with, I say that first let's get rid of this water over here so that we can mine out this entire area and get access to this space. We're just going to pump it through here, dump it in our water storage. I'm pretty sure we are going to make use of it, so yeah, it's going to be useful. I also want to pump this water before we close this area, so that we have access to it. Otherwise, we'll have to wait a long time until we reach it. What? Okay, until we reach it using the space suits, Atmos suits, I mean. So yeah. Let's try to get that water, but at the same time, let's start focusing on going through here. Now, let's always build at least for now. Let's use a couple of manual airlocks to keep the, for example, this carbon dioxide and this polluted oxygen out of our base. It's not going to be 100% efficient at doing that, but it's going to prevent, most of it from invading our space, and eventually, once again, we'll get rid of it. Not exactly a problem. I popped a hole in here just in case we have some water that flows or ice that melts, because as we can see, this ice is melting and I don't want to have water into my base, so this will prevent any small quantities of water, because it will just drop in here. But well, now we just need to wait for our dupes to get their work orders done, and then we'll see what we can do with this area. Okay, so now that the pump is working, we are getting rid of this water. Now, this thimbleweed is already ready to harvest. If we want, we can use plants that are, you know, existing in the what? Okay, that already exist in the environment. We can farm them or enable the auto harvest. However, we always need to take in consideration that the life cycle is far longer when they are wild plants. So for a few moments we'll just farm the thimbleweed in its wild state, but once we have a significant amount of polluted water waiting in the liquid reservoir, we will transfer that plant into one of these hydroponic farms. Now, my friends, one thing that we need to be careful is that this area is very, very cold, and that cold will start to bleed into our base eventually, and we don't want to chill our dupes out. However, we also have this area, which is kinda toasty, and so some of the heat is bleeding into our base as well, so in the end, they will nullify each other. So it's not really a major concern, at least for the time being. Okay, my friends, so now we have access to this area. One of the first things we should do, if at all possible, would be to close this off. Like this, to prevent this cold slush geyser from invading all of this space with polluted water. Not that I am against having an abundance of water, it's just that we need this space. We don't have a lot of space this time, and yeah. So I will have to So, I kinda want to leave the sleet wheat alone for as long as possible, because if you harvest them, the seed is the thing that you heat as well. So it goes bad, and then you can end up in a situation where you no longer have seeds for the sleet wheat, which is very, very important. So we will have to do our best to work around it and leave a few behind. At least, otherwise we'll have to go to another planet to get that stuff. But we need that. We need that to get into other planets to start with. So, yeah, that needs to be one of the points of care while we are doing this. But in any case, we are going to build two electrolyzers. One to provide air to the main base, and another one to provide oxygen to the suit docks. At first it's not going to be ultra efficient, but this is only temporary until we can get into the mid-game, and then we'll build some proper oxygen production facilities with their own chilling capabilities, because eventually we are going to melt this entire biome, and we'll no longer be producing chilly oxygen. So, the way that I like to do things is very simple, and this is why I like to do things this way. You can set it and forget it. We just need to be careful with the water so it doesn't freeze on the pipes, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. We get the electrolyzers, and we have two pumps, and that's pretty much it. We'll vent both of the chambers, and then we'll kickstart everything, making sure that we only have oxygen and hydrogen in these chambers, and therefore in our pipes. Now, this sleet wheat will have to die, unfortunately. The other ones, like I said, I will try to preserve them for as long as I can until I have my own temperature-controlled farm. Now, what we can do in order to preserve this sleet wheat grain is we can go over here. Well, maybe not you per se. Food, farm tile, like just whatever, like over here it's good enough. And any slit wheat grains that we get, we will put them over here. They will not grow, but they will also not spoil. So the second the slit wheat grain got unburied, as you can see, it's still in deep freeze state, but the freshness meter has appeared, and soon it will start going down. We see over here, -2 per cycle. But because we built these things over here, we can now come into the seed selection, plant it, give it a high priority, at least for now, so that the dupe will grab it and put it over here immediately. In fact, we can copy the setting and do like this. This way, any accidental slit wheat grain that I get, that I, you know, just miss it or I don't see, will be put over here by the dupes. And now that this thing is planted, like I said, it will not spoil, therefore we have... yeah, you don't need to deliver dirt to that thing. We have assured that when the time comes, we have at least one seed to plant and get the slit wheat grain to make the berry sludge, the most important piece of food ever in existence. These dupes, they are going to be the death of me. And look at this, how the hell did you manage to build yourself into a place that you cannot come down? It's unbelievable, please, get out of there. Now my friend, a new day, a new printing opportunity. I already have taken a look at the blueprint options that we had. At first I was tempted to get Joshua, after all, he's a very good cook. However, once I saw Liam over here, I noticed that he also has an interest in cooking. However, he might not be as good as a chef, but the remaining traits that he has make him a more appealing dupe. Not only can he cook, he also can do tidying jobs and operating, because, you know, cooking will take like 20% of his day, the rest will be free, therefore he can do other things, and, well, his traits are actually pretty cool, because Uncultured over here mitigates the Unpracticed Artist debuff that he has, so he can also get the, he also has the double increased decor morale bonus, so once we have a bunch of decor around the place, is going to be double affected by it. So I think that Liam is a good choice. Not only that, we also need an extra pair of hands, but before you go, Liam, before you go, it is time for me to give you your hat. Now my friends, because this thing is mostly made out of sandstone and copper, I'm just going to build a couple of storage bins over here to help with the material situation, because they are going to grab sandstone from like the other edge of the map. That is kind of annoying. So I'm just going to come over here, raw minerals, sandstone. Let's give it a little bit of high priority, and you, metal ore, copper, a little bit of high priority. This way they are going to bring the stuff over here eventually, especially the Liam, the chef dupe, because he has a priority a little bit higher on supplying and storing, plus tidying, so eventually he's going to get this done, and our builder dupes won't have to make such a large trip to go grab the materials. Now my friends, while we are waiting for this to get done, I also requested a small design change to our water supply. This is what I call an anti-P design, so pretty much the only difference is that we don't have this tile open, we have this tile to access the water tank, and well, what pretty much happens is whenever they might pee on the base, eventually it will always end up in here, because this is the lowest point. Usually, the pee will then flow into your water, but because this tile is raised by one tile, the pool of pee will just end up on this floor, where we can clean it, and that way we don't contaminate our water supply. Not that that is a major thingy or anything, but still, it's always good to keep in mind your water. Here we go, my friends, here we go. The game has presented us our very first snazzy suit. Okie dokie. I really like that game. It's really early in the game and you are you are already providing us with such great gifts. Now, who is going to get the suit? I think that Nicola, given that he is the sciencey type, so we should stay at home for longer, and so it's giving the core bonus of this Nazi suit to anyone that stays at home as well. But yeah, pretty cool. Eventually we are going to get our own textile loom, I believe that's how it's called, and we are going to fabricate our own snazzy suits, but they take reed fibers, and right now reed fibers are a premium item that we cannot spend on such trivial items. Now, while they get this done, we can start focusing on future problems, like for example, how are we going to power this? This is going to require two power transformers, yeah, we could either bring two small wires through the entirety of our base, or because we know that the edge of our base is going to be over here and we still have access to this area, we can already put the power spine over here on the side, and then once we are ready to close it off, we go into power and we use one of these, an heavy watt plate right there, to transfer the heavy watt wire from the inside of the base to the outside of the base, and then we just put the power transformers in wherever we feel like it. In this area we still need to dig out a little bit because we need to build a radiator. What is that? Oh, it's liquid carbon dioxide. For a moment I thought, do I really have oil inside of my planet already? Like, did I really find oil? We are not going to find oil over here. Oil is on one of these two planets. In here what we have is these vents. This is what we have, and that's pretty much it. So yeah. Also, another thing, I had to build this oxygen diffuser right there because the lack of oxygen is substantial in this area, and my dupes would have to run back significantly to breathe. At least with this over here, we can already pressurize these and they don't have to run back as much. Now, you could argue that we could use the oxygen masks, but to be honest, I don't like them too much. I don't think that they are particularly useful, especially when you can go straight into Atmo suits. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to push my dupes a little bit further, right? They can hold their breath for quite some time. So, yeah, just keep holding your breath, and eventually I'm going to gift you with Atmo suits. Okay, so this is built. I now have given a sweep command. I want to clean this thing before we close it. That's why I built these two storage bins. We select a sweep only and all, and we put it as a priority 9. Alright, so with this area now built, we need to clean it out of any debris. As we can see, we have ice inside, and this thing can melt and create a mess in our oxygen chambers, and we don't want that. That's why I built these two storage bins. I gave it a sweep command and all with a high priority. This high priority doesn't mean that the dupes are going to do this faster. This priority is to set up put it against other storage bins, which means the dupes will want to come over here first before they go anywhere else. So yeah, let's clean this up, close the chambers and kickstart them. Okay, so in order for us to kickstart our oxygen chambers, we need two things. We need water and we need power. Power, we are already taking care of that. We just need to finish this power spine over here, and we are going to be golden. This is where we are going to put our power transformers, and the remaining thing is going to be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, pipage. This is going to be a little bit more complicated, but not a lot. The way this is going to work is we are going to have these two gas filters filtering out hydrogen, and the remaining, which is the oxygen and any maybe carbon dioxide that we might have around, will be sent into our base. Right? Now, the hydrogen we need to burn it. Oh, here it is. For a moment I thought I didn't have the gas reservoir. We need to burn the hydrogen. So, for that we are going to put one gas reservoir right there, and we are going to put one few right there. Let's see, do I have ore gates yet? No, I do not. I need to research those. Cool, I don't have anything in research. Now, why do we need that? It's quite simple. Let me just find it first. Oh, here it is. Advanced automation. This is what we need. Because we're going to have a little bit of automation regulating our hydrogen generator. In fact, we are going to have two of them. I don't remember if we need two or one. We're going to start with one. If we need more, we'll build more. But we need a battery so that this thing is not producing power just because, right? Burning fuel unnecessarily. But at the same time, we need to make sure that the gas reservoir never fills up to the top, and so we need a little bit of automation to make that happen. Now, my friends, I really want to get this thing rolling, but oxygen is not exactly a pressing concern. Now, food is becoming a not exactly an issue, but it's threading the needle, let's just say. So I think I'm going to divert some of my attention towards making a temporary kitchen so that we can transform the little food that we have into something a little bit more substantial. And I'm also going to build a small temporary food storage, one that uses power but at least conserves the food for a little bit longer. We are going to use these things, the refrigerators. It stores food at an ideal temperature to prevent spoilage. However, even inside of the refrigerator, in fact, I'm not going to have that many to start with. Even inside of the refrigerator, the atmosphere is still an issue. So, like I said, carbon dioxide, very useful to have. We are going to pipe some of this carbon dioxide and bring it over here, where we are going to replace all of this oxygen by carbon dioxide, and effectively creating a temporary a freezer. It's not going to be freezing, but the refrigerators will take care of that part. Okay, so with this build, all we need to do is power this thing. There we go. This is going to bring carbon dioxide into this chamber. The airflow tiles will allow the oxygen to rise up while the carbon dioxide falls down. And once we have this completely filled with carbon dioxide, we just power the refrigerators. We can even start powering these things if we want, and then we'll transfer our food from the ration box over here into the refrigerators. This will also speed up the dining process and the collection of food process, given that most of our food is being produced over here, and that way the dupes don't need to come all the way down into the water pit to grab their meal. Alright, so with the chamber mostly filled up with carbon dioxide, we can start transferring the food over here. Now, when it comes to the food processing, what we are going to do is Linz loaves. They pretty much turn 1200 kilocalories into 1700, meaning we gain 500 calories in this process. You can also turn the meal ice into pickled meal. Pickled meal spoils slower, but you don't get any food out of it. Besides, the Linz loaf is one quality above the pickled meal, so you know, it's just a better food overall, at least until we have something better to give our dupes. So now instead of having the meal ice spoil at minus 9% per cycle, we have it spoil at minus 3% per cycle. It's still not perfect, it's still not deep frozen, but well, it spoils much slower now, so we can't complain too much. Okay, my friends, it's a new day and we are almost ready to go now. Power first, we need to plug everything first. I created a gas vent over there so that we vent everything from into... Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Cut this line. I forgot to forgot to close the door. We can start venting that one over there. So pretty much... Yep, all the junk air that's inside of this place will be vented over there, and once we have a vacuum, we can kickstart the electrolyzer. Now, into... let me just do this. Now, when it comes to the automation of this thing over here... Uh-oh. Oh yeah, we're just not producing enough power. Yeah, that's fine. Eventually everything is going to be equalized by the hydrogen generator over here. Now, when it comes to automation, we need the OR gate. Well, technically speaking, you don't need an OR gate because if you have two inputs linked together, that's technically an OR gate. But still, you know, sometimes the inputs can travel between the line and create confusion for you. So let's just get into the habit of using the proper gates for stuff. So we want to go like this, and then we want to go like this into a NOT gate. And I will explain to you why in a second. And then into the OR gate, and the OR gate will activate the hydrogen generator. Now we want an automation wire because this thing works pretty much like a smart battery. Once it reaches a low threshold, we'll input a green signal. Once it reaches a high threshold, it will output a red signal. That is backwards from what we want, because we want a green signal once a certain upper limit has been reached, like the 95%. That is going to tell the hydrogen generator to start working, to burn the excess fuel so it doesn't back up, and once it reaches a certain threshold, let's say 70%, 80, 75%, yeah, we don't want to burn a lot of fuel when we don't have the need to do so. It turns that green signal into a red signal, stopping the hydrogen generator from burning fuel needlessly. And then we also have the output of the smart battery, but this one works pretty much like the other one. High threshold, red signal, low threshold, green signal. We are going to set the low threshold to be the same as the other one, so they both work at the same time. So, now with this vacuumed out, I already deconstructed the gas vent, and now we can set up the remaining pipage. What we need is the oxygen output that goes into our base, right? So, wait a second, this is wrong. We don't need to go like this. We need two outputs. The top is going to provide oxygen to the base itself. The bottom is going to provide oxygen to the Atmo docks. Now, the one that is going to go into the base, we want it to be chilled out, so we are going to use radiant gas pipes to create a small radiator over here. Something that goes along these lines. It's good enough. And then the remaining oxygen comes into the base using a insulated gas pipe so that we don't lose the temperature. Then we, whoa, sorry, and then we connect into the radiator like so. We put a stair over there so the tubes can access the entirety of that area. And perfect, I think everything else is going to be okay. Oh, yeah, this polluted water, however, it's going to be a major concern. So what we are going to do, we are going to put these in the way. We are going to increase the priority of this, so these get built first before we have all of this water drop in here and then venting into this area. That would start to become a little bit of an issue that we can easily avoid. Look at Gossman just being a jerk. Heli is trapped in here because no one deconstructed that ice just yet, and Gossman, she's just ignoring her. It's like, bro, it's not my problem. There is still plenty of work to do, and it took us over 20 cycles to get here, but we are almost there. We are just missing our radiator and then the main pipe back to base. We are going to have maybe just two vents, one over there and another one, I would say, over here. Like two vents, it's all that we need to make sure that the base is sufficiently pressurized, at least until we have... And what I meant... What I meant to say was, at least for the time being, because this setup will provide enough oxygen for maybe 10 dupes at best, and that is taking into consideration that the dupes spend most of their time in the atmosuits. Reason for that is every single one of these can provide enough oxygen for 8 to 9 dupes. It's 100 grams per second that each dupe will require in the calculations, right? This one produces 888 grams, so it's 8.8 dupe. If there is a half dupe laying around, that's That will be just fine. So in theory, we are producing enough oxygen to supply 16 dupes, but given that only one of them will be providing oxygen to the base, and let's say that most of the dupes spend maybe 2 or 3 cycles mostly inside of the base, they will deplete the oxygen rather quickly, so we can't stretch that number too much. 10 dupes is roughly the limit with this setup. Once we have more dupes, we probably will already be in a state that we can afford to build a proper oxygen production facility. But yeah, for now I'm not going to give them any extra build commands. I'm just going to leave them with the commands that they have and wait until this is done. Well, it took them long enough. Jesus. Yeah, there was a few too many work orders going around. Now, we already have the pipes ready, it's time to bring in the water. Now, I was going to build a line through here, but I don't know if our dupes will be able to do that before the end of the episode. Now, because there is only this left, I'm going to trust them to do so, because otherwise I would have to bring the water through here. This was the original plan anyway, but I thought to myself, man, I'm going to have a ugly pipe in the middle of my base, I really don't want that, I'm just going to shove it over here to the side. It's going to be hidden away from high, and that way the dupes are not going to be negatively, well, they will not be affected by it. But while I was doing that, I came to the realization that I'm going to need to destroy these 2 tiles and replace them with heavy watt wire, because this is where our airlock is going to be. Yeah, we can't have a ladder in the middle of our airlock. That is not very airtight. And there we go, so everything is ready, and I now notice we have a couple of thimbleweed seeds. We already had one laying around, but let's start putting them over here. Eventually they will start to bear fruit, not fruit, in this case seed. But yeah, how about we go over here, we disconnect from there, we reconnect over here, cancel that, and then we need to connect over here. And disconnect over here. So now we can deconstruct all of this. It's not doing anything in here other than being ugly, of course. And now the water should start... Oh. Of course. So, as I was saying, now the water should start flowing. Eventually it's going to reach our oxygen facility and everything will kick in. Now, I should probably have done some automation on this thing that I completely forgot. The Atmos sensors, man, whatever. Doesn't really matter right now. This thing is not super important to have automation. The permanent one is, so yeah, we just leave it as is. Let's not bother ourselves with it. And there we go, so now the electrolyzers are working, and we are starting to produce oxygen and hydrogen. So the first few puffs of oxygen should be arriving at our base at any moment. And let's take a look at the temperature. It's going at minus 17 degrees, which is pretty chilly if you ask me, and I'm pretty sure our dupes are going to appreciate it. Now our power supply is going to suffer for a little bit, but eventually is going to stabilize. You know, especially if our coal generators are out of coal, but once the dupes wake up, they are going to resupply them. Chilly oxygen. Nice. So, yeah, it was on the nick of time, but we have achieved this episode objective. We now have an automated... Well, automated... It's... You get the point. We have a... good source of oxygen that will allow us to build Atmo docks in the future. We already have the reed fiber for a few suits, and we already have domesticated thimbleweeds. So in the next episode I am pretty sure about what we are going to do. Now, with the remaining time that we have in this episode, I'm just going to build a small storage for our oxygen, should we overpressurize, create more oxygen than we need, and that way we'll be able to store up a few kilograms of oxygen for when we actually need it. So let's do it like this, and then we go like this, and then like this. So yeah. This way we'll be able to store up to 300 kilograms of oxygen. Usually I like to do these kinds of storage on site, but because this space is so tiny, we didn't have the space for it. And once we have our proper oxygen production facility, we'll deconstruct this and build it on site. And we'll build a better one, because only 2 gas reservoirs is not exactly a lot of storage. And yeah, my friends, in this episode we actually got a lot done. Not only did we achieve the oxygen facilities, we also now have a basic food processing facilities over here where we can conserve it for longer than we were previously, and we also already have delimited most of the space that is going to be our inside of the internal part of our base. Because technically the entire map is your base, but this is the safe environment where dupes can run around without Atmos suits. And yeah, next episode, my friends, just in case you didn't get the hint, we're going to get into Atmos suits. We already have pretty much everything that we need, so that one should be a little bit a project that should unfold quicker than this one. Oh, come on. That's mean, game. That's really mean. You really did that? God damn it. Okay. Okay, so like probably there was a little bit of ice left in here and I don't know. Well, future me will deal with it, and not present me. We're going. This is the one that actually need the really like to be just oxygen, because if it was this one, the one that goes into our base, it would be fine. Getting a little bit of polluted oxygen inside of our base, the dupes would breathe it, and it would be okay. This one, if we get polluted oxygen into this line, the thing is the Atmodogs will get damaged. Yeah. That's not cool. That's why future me is going to deal with it and not present me. But yeah, my friends, with all of that said, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode and that you are enjoying the series so far. If you are, please consider subscribing and help the channel grow. But in the meantime, this is the Base Manager signing out. Bye bye.